very interesting that Trump should tell President Erdogan, do be a little bit careful because we, the United States, have troops in Manbij, because that's where President Erdogan says the Turkish troops will be going after Afrin.
That's absolutely incredibly strong rhetoric coming out of the White House. Let me just run through a few of the highlights coming out of a statement that was released from the White House. President Trump telling his Turkish counterpart there are concerns, as far as the US is concerned, regarding an escalating violence in Afrin, which risks undercutting the shared goals in Syria. Of course, those shared goals, namely defeating Daesh in the country. President Trump also saying that calling for a de-escalation and limited military actions, avoiding civilian casualties, also urging to avoid action that might risk conflict between Turkish and US forces there. As you so rightly mentioned, a clear reference to the US presence in Manbij. Now, according to this statement, incredibly strong rhetoric coming from the US president as well, when he called for concerns about the destructive and false rhetoric coming from Turkey. However, we have heard from the Anadolu news agency have come out, according to a source, rather refuting some of those comments made by the president, saying that there was no mention of the concerns of escalating violence in Afrin, saying that President Trump didn't use the words destructive and false rhetoric. But of course, the interesting thing, of course, to give it even more context, is the fact that Turkey have accused the United States of being inconsistent with their lines when it came to a border force on the border.
Yes, absolutely. I was going to mention those different accounts that are being reported of this phone call between the two leaders, William. But the fact remains that many analysts, after this phone call, they have said that, in fact, the United States doesn't have too much leverage over President Erdogan, who is, of course, launching this operation to secure the border between the two countries.
Of course, ultimately, Adnan, the President Trump has come out very strongly in saying that they fully recognise that Turkey has legitimate security concerns. This is something that really has been repeated throughout the week. We've heard from both James Mattis, the US Secretary of Defense, and the US Secretary of Defense, James Mattis, as well as the Secretary of State, Rex Tillerson, both coming out and saying that they recognise Turkey's legitimate security concerns. However, the number one priority for the United States is defeating terrorists, defeating groups like Daesh. That is a key priority for the US. The concern for the US going forward is that that is somewhat being distracted. They want to see both countries united in that message and with that target in mind.